Hello and good morning, everybody. For folks who are in Eastern time zone and North American time zone, very good morning. For other folks, good day and good evening from wherever you're watching today's session. So here we are. We are on the day two of our Google DevFest 2020. Yesterday we had an array of session and some of them were really exciting. We had great speakers, we had workshops, we had demonstrations, and today's day is also going to look like the same as yesterday, with a few of them with some different flavor. So, yeah, welcome you all, whosoever are joining us live, and those who would be watching us a while later. Make sure that you also go through our yesterday's session. Some of them you can definitely find very useful, very enticing. So as we start our day, our first session today is on machine learning. We will be talking briefly about machine learning, and I will be running through that session. And after that, we have a walkthrough around careers with cloud. Then we have a great speaker from Google coming up to talk about Google certification path. You have your agenda. If you have registered through Eventbrite or Meetup, you will have the latest agenda with you, which will be pushed before every session. In case you want to remember when to log in and where to log in, one name you can have is devfest2020.club. Devfest2020.club. We will always keep it redirecting to the latest session. We made this domain just to make sure that you don't have to remember all the different sessions we are having on different time. So yes, any point of time you tune in Devfest2020.club, you will be redirected to the latest stream. And when you go to the page, do like think beyond the Silicon Valley page, subscribe to it, and you will get an access to all other session that we had. You will get notification and you would be able to get benefit from those session as well. So even if you missed it, still you have an opportunity to go back and see which one was pretty much relevant to you. All right. So our first session today is approximately for around 55 minutes, and I will be talking about different aspects of machine learning, and we will do a little bit of lab part as well. However, in this session, we will not engage you in the workshop, but I will walk you through the one example of a workshop, so you get a feel of it, you get a flavor of it. So let me begin. Let me share my screen and start with machine learning. All right, so here we are. And before I move further, let me make sure with my team if my screen is visible. All right, okay, it looks good to me. Fine. So we are on the day two of the machine learning session. I mean, day two of the Google DevFest event, and the first session is machine learning session. uh, you can use the code below to register yourself. That way, we would be able to not only send you additional resources around the event that we have, plus you will also get eligible to be part of a Google swag that we will send it by using a raffle, some quizzes, some prizes. So do register in this tinyurl.com/GDG code DF20. You will get a lot of Google resources in coming days once you are registered with us. And do follow us on different social media. Join our meetup group. Be follow us on Eventbrite. Google is a great organization which allows a lot of resources. They provide a lot of resources for free for community learning programs, and they do it via communities like us. So if you are associated, if you are with us, you would be benefited from those resources, which otherwise may cost you some bucks for sure. All right. So without wasting much time, let's go to the basic concepts of machine learning. All right. So what is machine learning, and let's try to visualize it. And even before we talk about machine learning, let's try to think how human learning, or how brain learning, human brain learning works. So for a moment, if you try to take a pause, if you close your eyes for 30 seconds and try to see when was the first time when you saw an object which you did not identify earlier. Say, for example, first time when you saw an apple, you saw something about it. You saw a certain shape, saw a certain color, you saw a certain size. And somebody told you when you were a very young kid that this is an apple, and you remembered that way. You classified it information, and you kept in your brain that okay, something that is red in color, something that is like a shape of like 3 inch diameter, round oval shape, something that is that is having a certain kind of smell at times, and they call it an apple. And then after some time you did see something which was green but everything was similar, and people told you it is green apple. So you realize that okay, there can be apple which are of different types. Now your brain has adjusted that information as well, that it doesn't necessarily has to be red, it can be of different color. Primarily it can be green, or it can be red, or it can be slightly yellowish, or combination of few colors, but generally it cannot be black, because you have not seen a black applet, or you have not seen a blue applet, or a violet one. So that is how a brain perceives information. It gets the information the first time, and then stores it. Then again it gets additional information, it stores it further. That is called training of your brain. Your brain gets trained knowingly or unknowingly as part of the learning behavior, as part of the learning process. Now the same happens with machine learning. Now if we have to talk about machine learning, pretty much we have to kind of see how brain learning was working, and can we replicate that on machines. That means, can we show something to a machine, and machine algorithm will find out okay, what is there in it and what are we calling it. Now we will show something else to it, and again it will enhance it, and that is called training it. We will now, if you take this analogy of brain learning and machine learning in the context of how do we perceive information, how do we store it, and how do we interpret it. Further in the slide we will be talking about machine learning, and I want you all to every time correlate how does it look like, um, thinking about machine learning, at the same time thinking what if it was not a machine, was a human. Can the behavior be similar, or it has to be different? So that way you can correlate, and that way also you can enhance your understanding around it. Now, one thing that you see in this image right now is what are the different senses that allows brain to think. You can see there is there is a symbol of eye, then there is symbol of some sound, then there is a text which you can see. So by listening, by viewing it, by feeling it, by different other information, brain perceives information. Same way, when we talk about machine learning, it also has to perceive information from different sources. Let's see how it looks further. Okay, if you go to the basic definition of machine learning, we can call it machine learning is all about training a software program with examples, experiments, or experiences so that it can recognize patterns, make prediction, and complete task. Now, let me replace the word machine learning with human learning, and let me try to read the statement again. Human learning. It is training a human brain with examples, experiments, and experiences so that it can recognize patterns, make predictions, and complete tasks. Now, when I replace the term machine learning with human learning, and I replace the term software program with human brain, still both statements make sense. When I read it out that way, it still makes sense. It is still relevant information. That means brain learning and human learning or machine learning, they the approach of that learning can go hand in hand. It is all about uh, getting some examples, doing some experiments or experiences, and that way recognize and identifying it as some object, as some text, as some image or whatnot, like whatever attributes you want to keep that. Eventually in the presentation you will also see how we will talk about the sentiment analysis and those in depth attributes of an object, or attributes of a particular concept. All right, so what are the different type of machine learning? uh, Supervised learning, unsupervised learning, semi supervised learning, and reinforcement learning. uh, as the name suggests, you may anyway correlate this different types of machine learning with the way machine learning will be done. Supervised learning, somebody has to tell what to do, somebody has to tell what it is. Unsupervised learning, Nobody is telling machine model it will just rely of its own, make some conclusion, it will learn further, enhance that conclusion, and that is how it will keep learning. Same is supervised learning. You feed into a machine learning a certain information, and further it learns on its own by its own experiences. And reinforcement in learning, where you reward from the sequence of action, you keep adding the sequence of action, and that way it keeps learning. Now if we try to correlate this with human learning again, and as I said from the beginning, that any point of time when we are talking about machine learning, we should keep in mind and we should try to see how a human brain works, how a human learning works. So now if I try to read same statement with human learning perspective, what is a supervised learning? Like your kid going to school and then to college and then getting a corporate training is supervised learning. Somebody is telling what is right, somebody is telling what is wrong, and depending upon what is being told, the child is learning the same information. Unsupervised learning, there is a kid for any region, if they are not able to go to school, still they will learn something. Nobody is telling them what is right and what is wrong, but they will observe, watch, and they will still have some understanding around the world that they have. Same will apply on the machine learning as well. Same is supervised learning. Same way somebody went to a school, or I mean somebody didn't went to the school, but there was somebody in the home, their parents or relatives, who were telling the kid what is right, what is wrong, to a limited extent. The semi supervised learning may not have the similar outcome as the supervised one. However, when you say supervised learning, all the information that is coming, some of them may not be the original information. Rather, it would be influenced by the person who is imparting that information. So what is right and what is wrong could be a different set of attribute in different places, in different families, in different countries. And in a supervised learning, the same will be transferred to the learner, be it be a machine or be it be a human. At this point, I will say, if any of you have heard about biasing in machine learning, it's all related to supervised learning, or even for unsupervised learning, because observations are coming from outside world, be it be human, be it be a machine. So if there is a biasing, inherited cultural biasing or racial biasing in our world, that will anyway get injected into the machine as well, or even if it is a human, it will get injected into them. So the last one, the reinforcement learning. If we same like you create a kid for karate competition, you make, or you make them an expert in a certain music, or you make them expert in a certain kind of a yoga action, then which not a regular kid can do. So you are pretty much enhancing the ability by rewarding from sequence of action. The same apply for a specific machine learning modules, which will be created for a specific purpose. Having said that, let's go to the steps that is involved. And before I begin, let me tell you that one step is missing here. Now, what is that? So the very first step that is involved is get data. Now there is a huge amount of data available throughout different stages of learning. It's everywhere. Not every data is relevant. At least at different point of time, the relevance of a data can change. So you have to clean it, you have to prepare it, and you have to manipulate the data. And once you have done that, you have to train a model. And that is where one step is missing here. Where did the model come from? That means at some point the model has to be created. So keeping that in mind, that in between there has to be a step which somebody will be doing, that there has to be a model, and that model has to be trained based on the data that is received, or let me say based on the data that is received and cleaned, the prepared data, the useful data. Once you have trained the model, you want to test it, and you will certainly find some good things and some not so good things, some accurate things and some not so accurate things. So in that way, you have to improve it. That means this cycle has to run again and again. Now, go back to the first example we took about the apple. That first time you see an apple, a red apple, you feel that apple is a red, oval, round shaped object of this size. But the next time you see green apple, you improve itself, thinking that, okay, no, it can be green as well. So that is the very basic steps to follow when we talk about machine learning. So in simple term, if I have to say that in one line, we can very well say machine learning is all about making sense from data. Now, is it a complete information? Is it 100% accurate? Maybe not. Maybe you say no, it's just one attribute or aspect of it, and I will agree to it. But it is a good point to begin with. You can bring your thoughts from this point that machine learning is all about making sense from data. Now again, I have a habit of changing machine learning to human learning all the time and see it is still relevant. Human learning is all about making sense from data. Yes, I find it is relevant. Whether it be human learning or machine learning, it's all about making sense from data. And what is data is a wide discussion. Apparently it may look like some computer data, some text, audio, whatnot, but when we go into detail, there is a huge amount of attributes which essentially we don't see as data is also data. We will talk about data in our other session where we go in depth and understand what do we call exactly as data. All right. Now, since this is a tech-related session, there are certain tech-related terminology and terms that you must be aware, um, like JSON. Many of you may be working on JSON. Many of you may have heard the name, and for those who have not, probably this is the time when you are hearing this name for the first time. This is still all right. JSON is JavaScript object notation. It is a lightweight data interchangeable format, and it is easy for humans to read and write. It is easy for machines to parse and generate. Now, this answers why JSON is so common and widely used. It is easy for us to interpret as a developer. If you have to learn JSON, it won't be difficult. It will be more English-like, and you can very well remember the syntax. You can write it. You can communicate with this. And it's similarly very easy for the machines to parse and generate. They can further process the information very well. Curl. Curl is a command line tool that is to transfer data from a server using any of the supported protocol. And there are a huge number of different protocols that it may support with HTTP, FTP, IMAP, POP, SCP, SMTP, and whatnot. Whenever we have to transfer a file among different protocols, curl command is one of the really good in handy command which can be used on a CLI command line interface. So you can transfer the data. It is designed to work without user interaction, can support multiple files at the same time, and API documentation are normally written with references to curl. And this is one of the most commonly used CLI command in order to file transfer. So it's good to know about it, even if you don't remember all the time. At least you should be familiar with these terms. Bash, it is another interactive command line interpreter or shell, and we will talk about that as well. Pip, you will always use when we are talking about machine learning. We have to talk about Python. Python is the most commonly used language that is used in machine learning. At least at this point of time, this is true. In future, if there is something else coming up or another version of Python coming with a different name, that will be a different story altogether. At the moment, if any of you are seriously willing to learn machine learning, probably having a good base of Python is a good start. So a pip is a command which is basically a package management system and used to install and manage the software packages, such as those found on Python package index, PYPI. That is the name as a short, but we call it like a pip. So it is used for installation of the latest version of Python. SSH, if you have worked on Unix or Linux, you must have heard about this term, which is again a command line interface where you can interact with your server or your machine using CLI commands. It stands for Secure Shell. It is a cryptographic network protocol for operating network services securely over an unsecured network. So it provides a layer of security when you are trying to interact with the machine. The SSH command provides a secure encrypted connection between two hosts over an insecure network. This connection can also be used for terminal access, file transfer, and for tunneling other application. So a number of regions where you have to communicate with the machine or error of machine for file transfer, terminal access, whatnot, whatever be your reason. But SSH will add that layer of security and will help you with seamless connectivity. All right. Another command that you will use as a very common term is sudo. That actually is an abbreviation of super user do. It's more like a admin user, like a admin rights, and it is a Linux command that allows program to be executed as per the super user. We can also call it like a root user or admin user, whatever way you understand it. So sudo is same. And there's another command apt-get. It means to download from the default repository or app store provided by Linux package, and this Linux package can be installed when you are working on things. And mm, whenever you want to directly install a package from internet directly on your Linux machine, you can use the command like applicate. This is the command to download, and then further you will install it. One term that you should be very much familiar when we are talking about machine learning is TensorFlow. It is a core open source library and helps you to develop and train ML model. ML here means machine learning models. Now you remember in the first slide here, in few back slides, we spoke about train model here. And somebody has to make a model in order to train it. So we are talking about the same machine learning model at this point. So it helps us to create the model and also train the model. So TensorFlow is a product which has been developed by Google, but now it is open source. And the good thing is, even if you call it, I don't want to call the term competitors nowadays, because companies and organizations are now working in more collaboration than competition. Peer companies are also using TensorFlow as a base to build next things on top of it. It is an end-to-end open source platform for machine learning, and is written as Jupyter Notebook and run directly in Google Colab. And I highly recommend you all, if you are willing to learn about machine learning, go to Google Colab. Just go to Google and type Google Colab, and it will open you a notebook online notebook like page where you can directly start writing and executing the Python commands. It is very comprehensive and flexible ecosystem of tools, libraries, and community resources. So anything that you need to create a model, or anything that you may need to create to train the model, is available in this TensorFlow. It's a huge subject, and it can take more than one day just to understand what TensorFlow is. But at this point, my idea is to make you familiar, if you are not, about what TensorFlow is and its relevance in the machine learning. Okay, you must be aware of API. If not, it is application programming interface. It is an interface or communication protocol between different parts of computer program. So when we have a module that can be needed in more than one places, and you want to call it, and you want to call it with an authorization, you don't want to rewrite that particular module all the time. So that point of time, you may like to use something called API, which will allow you to call and use a piece of functional unit, uh, which can be reused by other applications as well. So the idea here is to save the resources. Like if there is a functionality that's already there, say for example, Dialogflow is used for making chatbots. Now, you don't want to always write the code for Dialogflow in your application. You don't want to integrate it because it will make your application program bulky. It's already there. So rather than integrating entire code in your program, you may like to call which is already there, and you want to call it with certain authentication, so that it not only adds a security layer, but it also only um, uh, does the job what is actually needed. And it stops the application to unnecessarily make calls and consume the resources. It helps to optimize the very processing of an application where different features are enabled. So for now, if you are beginners and a beginner and you don't have really much understanding, just understand, when an application wants to call a function, you can use the API call, and it goes hand in hand with authentication. It could be a key pair authentication, or it could be something else. We will talk about more when we will have enhanced session on machine learning in future. Okay, so what is an API key? I spoke about authentication. Basically, we refer authentication here as API key. It is a code that gets passed by computer application and can act as a secret authentication token, as well as a unique identifier. So both are needed. While it adds a layer of security, at the same time it identifies and helps to create stats how many times this particular functionality is being called. If there is a lot of calls happening, can we increase the bandwidth by either of the side? It also helps to assist in monitoring and how the interface is being used, and it identifies the project making a call, who is making a call. So you get a lot of data around it. In short, we can just call it is an authentication token that identifies a user and also adds a layer of security. See, one of the API, very common API, is REST API. It is a set of rules that allow programs to communicate with one another over HTTP. It stands for representational state transfer. So a developer creates the API or server and allows the client to talk to it. Usually, exchange JSON and XML documents um, uh, are the areas where REST API call will be used, but there are other attributes as well. Now, let's come back to another API, which is very important in terms of machine learning. That is natural language API. Now, what is natural language? what I am speaking right now and what you are listening right now is what we have grew up with. We have this language which we use widely. This is a natural language. This is not a language meant for machines. It is not. It was written for humans to interact with other humans naturally. This the language in which I'm communicating right now is a natural language. The same applies. Can machine learn this natural language? And if yes, what kind of functionality, what kind of feature it may need? In order to get that feature, we need that API. So, how we can define it? We can call it as a powerful pre-trained model of the natural language API that lets developer work with the natural language understanding features, including now what could be a feature of a language like sentiment, entity sentiment, content classification, syntax analysis. So most of the time when we talk about language, we talk about the language and its meaning. But there are a lot more in a language. There can be a meaning and there can be emotion and sentiment in that meaning. We will see how. Like, let's take a pause at this right now. Like, I feel sorry for you if I say somebody. And say, for example, something bad happened to somebody. And I go and tell, I feel sorry for you. After that, I have a friend of mine who comes and say, I can understand what you must be going through. And there is another person who comes and say, I admire the way you are handling this. Now all of the three are trying to convey similar message for a situation. Like somebody is going through a bad phase and we are telling them something, we are telling our sentiment. Now which one is something more positive, which one is not so more positive? Like feeling sorry for somebody, yes, it's not always a negative thing, but you are basically saying there is a problem and you are feeling sorry about it. And the second one is about more dilute. Okay, there is a problem, but you understand that there is a degree of understanding. There is an empathy element of empathy. And the third one is more positive note. Here you are talking about the positive aspect of it. Okay, the bad thing has happened, but what you are looking at is the way it is being handled. So of course everybody would be sorry about it, but more than that, can you see the positive aspect? Anything can go wrong which is not in your control. The very tone and tongue of these three lines are different, though can be used in the same situation. So same applies on machine learning. If there is a text, the natural language being used, can machine learning understand these sentiments? Humans generally do. I can, or somebody can feel better if somebody will tell me, I admire the way you are handling this, rather than somebody saying, I feel sorry for you. I don't want to I don't want somebody to feel pity about me. I can handle things. And at least I want to stay in that mindset. I guess most people would. In that case, this would be my way of handling it. So now, again, this can vary from person to person, but at least the difference of these three lines, which can be used in the same situation, is evident. And based on what you want to communicate, we can use it. So if you are building a machine learning model, we have to take care of these sentiment analysis as well. Now, uh, how do we classify when we have to put a level against these terms? So feel sorry for you is pretty much a sympathy. Somebody showing a sympathy, and then I can understand what you must be going through is empathy. Empathy is a higher degree of sentiment, if I have to say it that way. And the third is said with respect, like I admire the way you are handling this. So whether you want to respect somebody, whether you want to be empathetic to somebody, or whether you want to show sympathy, all three are ideally a positive word. But I find the respect is much positive, empathy is definitely very positive, and sympathy is good, acceptable. But I guess one has my personal thought would be to be more empathetic rather than being a sympathetic, and if possible, be respectful to each other. That is the best thing to happen. But if we don't really feel aligned, at least let's all try to be empathetic. So that way we can segregate the language. So ideally, I would have done a Jamboard, but since this session is short, we will not do this right now. But in future session, we would be certainly doing it. Now, let's come back to image processing. So, while we were talking about natural language processing, and we talked about the content classification, we talked about the sentiment analysis. Similarly, in image processing, there are n number of things that can be understood. So, for example, there is an image. Take the example of the same apple. Now, what image processing is basically analysis and manipulation of the digital image, whatever analysis you can do. Now, what kind of analysis we can do? We can see if there is a label, we can see if there is a character or face in that. Can we find out if there is a location or landmark? Can we see if there is any color or what is the object? And even in image, we can see if there is a sentiment. Like if there's a face, we can identify whether it's a happy face or a smiling face or a sad face or a crying face. So sentiment analysis goes even true with image processing. So what we will do now is we will just use the Google Cloud platform to do image processing. We'll go into the lab and I'll show it to you. But before we move there, I would like to say that apart from uh, our language processing and image processing, can machine learning be used in any other kind of communication? And what could be any other kind of communication? So we will talk about that if we have time at the end of the session. For now, let's go to the lab. Okay, so I will stop sharing now, and I just saw that, okay, we have 30 minutes now for the lab section. So I will stop the screen. All right. So at this point, before we go to the lab, I will certainly like to review and take a pause here and say, what have we understood so far? Probably everything that was spoken, you already knew about it. Probably you already have understood it. So I give you like 1 minute or so, and just to recall what has been talked about. We started with thinking how the brain learning work. We also talked about like what is the process, what are the steps involved in machine learning. Then we spoke about um, uh, what are the different types of learning that may happen, like the supervised, unsupervised, reinforced super learning, or semi supervised learning. We compared it with human learning as well. In that sense, further we talked about different commands that we had, that we may be using. Python is recommended, understanding of API is recommended, uh, plus certain commands around curl, bash. These are the things. If you don't know, that is perfectly all right, but you should have in your mind that at some point you will learn it, and these are useful in machine learning. Google Colab, I spoke and recommended that you can go and have a look at it. So uh, plus we spoke about natural language API, and we spoke about image processing, and now we are going to the lab section. So let me open the lab and then I will share the screen. Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. Let me see when it appears. Okay, hopefully I'll just check with my team if it appears now. All right, now it appears. I got that confirmation. Okay, so we are good with it. So what I've done is I have went to the Quick Lab platform, and we generally do our workshops, the hands-on workshop using this Quick Lab platform. Mm, right now I'm not walking you through how to go on Quick Lab platform, how to make use of it, but I am here on a lab which is called detect levels, faces and landmark in an image. And this is just an example I have taken to just give you a flavor what you can do on Google Cloud platform. So what we will do today is we will use a Quick Lab platform to get a um, training manual or the learning manual. It will have the step-by-step process involved, what you need to do for learning purpose. And then we will go to Google Cloud platform and we will perform the task. So before I move, let me see if there is any questions coming up. Okay, so far looks like we are good. And yeah, I invite you to put your questions across, and you can also connect with me. And then if you have any specific question, we can talk about it. You are invited to our future session when we do the workshop, which also includes certifications. So pretty much you are more than welcome to join our future session. Today's session is more about just giving a flavor of it, like how does it look like? What should be the takeaway of today's session? Can we take a decision? Do you want to learn machine learning or not? And if yes, will Quick Lab and the Google Cloud platform could be a better idea. Yeah, I will share the LinkedIn profile. Probably I will put it on the chat once the session is over. All right. So what we are gonna do here is we are right now in a quick lab training portal, and there, if you see my screen, I have been there directly. We have a start lab section, and there is a timing which says for 5 minutes, but uh, I will do it much faster. Generally, the times given here is much longer, so I will be fast than what the time has been given. And then we have a score. So that way we can complete it, and we will get a score of 100 out of 100. That will make this lab complete. So in the actual workshop session, when you will be attending with us in future, we will be using set of labs which will help you get badges, and those badges you can add on LinkedIn. You can, if you participate in the certification program, you can also get certificates. So what I will do is I will share the link and
Mental illness is a huge problem, and we can really make huge strides in solving it by using artificial intelligence technology. But without the kind of data sharing that's necessary for machine learning to work, it simply won't be possible to solve this problem. I understand that people value their privacy, and of course so do I. But without data, machine learning technology simply is useless. It cannot be trained without the right kinds of data sets. Imagine how many other problems we couldn't have solved if it weren't for us sharing data for machine learning to be implemented.
Hello everyone. So as Vimal was talking about machine learning, uh, yes. So as Vimal talked many things about machine learning, so now we are going to see how in Google platform we can perform those steps and see how this machine learning is working on the cloud environment and how we can train our model and do some activities. So I will share my screen. So as you can see, I'm in machine learning lab. In this lab, you can see we have the name of the lab is Introduction to ML Image Processing. So in this lab, you can see we have multiple labs, but we are not going to perform all the labs this time. But what we are going to do, we are going to just do one lab and let you know how this lab is working and how we can detect label, faces, and landmarks in an image with the cloud built API. So as you can see, this lab is 45 minutes long, but that will not take that much of time. So as you can see in this lab, we have some set of steps that is defined in the right side. We are going to set up some system, then we'll create an API key, then we are going to upload an image and lots of steps. But that are such a simple step that will not take such a long time because we are going to call an API and in that API everything is already pre-written and we are just calling that API to perform our task. So let's start. As you can see in this lab, we need to start the lab by clicking this button, Start Lab. When we are going to start the lab, it will ask about the captcha. Will you please confirm the captcha? It will take a bit time, but no worries. It will be up in less than a minute. It is taking a bit time. Let's wait for a minute. Still it is loading.
Sorry, guys, I got a network glitch and it actually disconnected me off. Thank you, Shweta, for picking it up from there. I'm not sure at what point I got disconnected. So, uh, all right. So, all right, folks. So I'm really not sure exactly what point I got disconnected. I think it was 5 minutes before. Can somebody let me know how long I was disconnected? All right. So let me anyway share the screen. Yeah, I will do a quick recap where I left. Let me quickly open the lab. Yeah. So, okay. So I will wait till my screen comes up. It will take a while. Sorry about the disturbance. Yeah, I can see that it has popped up now. All right. All right. So we were talking about image processing, particularly in machine learning, and we are going to do a quick walkthrough of a lab where we will detect labels, faces, and landmarks. I did give a walkthrough around what we can do. So I will quickly go on the lab section and show you how the Google Cloud Platform looks like. So when you start the lab, and I had given a walkthrough around the details here. Not sure if at least this part must you have covered. So I have the subscription to use this quick lab. We generally provide this subscription to our audience when you join our workshop. So the moment I start the lab, what I get is I get a username, I get a password, and I get a project ID. So for anything to do on the Google Cloud Platform, we need a project. So in this lab, since we are learning, this Google project ID is already provisioned. It's already created for us for the training purpose. So we can open the GCP project. GCP is nothing but Google Cloud Platform project. And if I open it on the other tab, I always have to use, since we are using it for the learning purpose, it has already given the ID and the password to log in. Don't use your personal ID and password because Google Cloud Platform actually costs money. For the training purpose, QuickLab will provide you these IDs from which you will not be charged. If you have your credit card listed, there is a possibility at times if you don't take caution, you may get a bill if you use your personal account because Google Cloud Platform has a cost and it is not available. Some of the item is not available for free. So use other account. I will generally it is preferred to use uh, incognito mode. So I will use this ID and say next, and then I will take this. I will accept it. So logging is just like any Google login. So what you see in front of right now, in front of you is the actual Google Cloud Platform. It's not a dummy one. It's not a uh, emulator. It's the actual Google Cloud Platform, which you can use it for different purpose. Idea is when you are logging through these IDs, just do what is being asked because you are given resources to perform the task as part of the lab. If you try to do so many other things, a little deviation is fine, but if you use a lot of resources, your ID may get blocked. So that's why we should be doing exactly what is being said. So we'll follow the instructions here. I will not walk this thing through. This is just about how do you log in. I will directly come and start from here. And before we do that, in this Google Cloud Platform, this is the UI. This is the navigation menu. And in navigation menu, you have all the options that you can choose. And there is an option called Activate Cloud Shell. This will open the CLI, command line interface. It may take a while to provision. It's provisioning right now. We have to wait till it provisions correctly. One thing to note here is you should see the project ID that is provided. Even in the real world, when you are working on a Google Cloud platform, you have to make sure that you are in the right project before you proceed. Okay, so now it is provisioned. This thing coming in yellow, this is the same project ID. It shows me it is healthy. So what I will do is, I will generally I have a habit of moving to the other screen, but for now I will just use the same one. On the quick lab, you have this button to copy the command. Ideally, you should understand the command and type it yourself. But if you are beginners, it is perfectly all right if you just copy it. It has the option here, and you can execute the command. Now, first command is gcloud auth list to give you the list of account that is associated with. So I put it over there, and it will ask for authorization. That is done. It will show me the account it is associated. That is fine. The next one is to list the project. Now we have only one project that we are aware of it. I'm just trying to show you how to make use of Google Cloud Platform. Uh, yeah, 1 second. All right. And then we have create an API key. In order to create an API key, we have to go to API services in the navigation menu and to the credential. So where is the navigation menu? This is the navigation menu. And you have API and services here, and then you have something called credential. So this is where you go and create an API key. We have spoken about API key in the presentation. So what you will do is create a new credential. That is what you have to click here. You have your plus icon and create credential. When you click on this, there are many different way of authentication that we can create, but click on API key and you can copy it and keep it for your purpose. For now, this is the API key created. Okay, and let's close this. Now further, check your progress. The moment you check your progress, since we have created an API key right now, it gives you a score of 25. So as part of the lab, one activity is complete and it has marked you. Similarly, we have to use this command. We can move this API key that I have copied right now that was created into a label called API key, export API key, and then I can move it there. So what I will do is I will type here, and you can always refer back to the label. It could be anything. It could be any name when you label it. But for the sake of this evaluation, because Quick Lab will check what you are doing, we have to use the same name. So it is API underscore key. And I had copied the API. So it will move the value in the API key level. Now upload an image to the cloud storage. So we will use one image and we will upload it there. So for that, we have to create a bucket. A bucket is nothing but a folder which is globally which should have globally unique name. So we will create a bucket. In order to create a bucket, we have to go to storage and then we have to create a bucket. So this is the navigation menu. If you click here, again we have to go to storage. Yeah, storage. And if you click on that, after you have clicked on the storage, you will get an window where you can create a bucket. As I said, you can consider bucket as a folder at the moment. However, there are other attributes which we will talk in our future session. But at the moment, you can just understand it as a folder. So you are creating a folder. Now you have to give it a name. So what I will do is I will give it a name, and it has to be unique name all the time. So I will do it like 2211, and then I will create it. I will leave everything by default. Now, let me use, as I said, I have like 4 minutes left. So once the bucket is created, let me download this file, which we had seen, like this one. So uh, let me save image as. And let me save it as, let me see what name it wants me. It wants me to save with the name selfie and .png. So we have to keep in mind, because we are getting evaluated, and it's png. And I'm storing it in my personal GDG folder. So let me keep it here. Now I'll go back to the bucket here. So once we have stored the file, uh, after we have to upload the image into the bucket. So the image that we have downloaded is the next one. Before we do that, we have to set permissions, and permissions would be public, all users and readers. So this is the bucket that it would have created right now. And let me upload the file here, and then we have selfie dot. Okay, it is uploading a file. I should see an entry here. Once its upload is done, I can see this file, and you can see three dots here. If you click on this, let me move this. If you click on this, you should be able to see edit permissions. So let's go to the edit permission, add an entry, and let's see what permission it is for. Public, all users, readers, like everybody can see it. Public, all users, readers. So public, all users, reader. Let me save that. So I added a permission. Prior to that, I had uploaded, but it will not be visible to everybody because it was not made public. I made it public. Now, after I have done that, let me go back and use this level for last image. Yeah. So once I have uploaded this, let me check my progress here. This will say yes, because I have not done the previous step. I'm directly taking this picture. There are multiple examples to do. I'm taking this picture, and then I will use this command to run into the file. But I have to change my bucket name here, right? My bucket name, I cannot use this name here. So what I will do is I will open a notepad, and what I will do is I will paste it here and change it to 2211. I believe this was the bucket name. I will just confirm it. 2211, yeah. And then I will copy it, and I can run this command now. So, okay. So what we have to do here is we have to create a JSON.request that we would have created previously. And that would be here. So we talked about the JSON file that we need to create. After we have edited the permission, if I try to check on progress now, it will not say that it is complete, because I did not uploaded this file. I will show you that it will show as red because I did not uploaded this file. I did not downloaded this. So we can use a command line editor like Nano or Vim, and we can create a request.json file. So let me use the command Nano. I'm getting out of the time, so I will just take a couple of minutes. And this part I will save. And once I have done with this, I can save the file You can see the option to save here. You can see what is the option to save here based on the editor, whatever you are using. And we can use Control X, exit. It will say whether you want to save it. I will say Y and enter. We came back. Now, now we will call the Cloud API Vision. And this is the command to call the Cloud API Vision. It will take a while. And you can see this. Yeah, let me increase this. And let me also go to the settings. You can always check the font, text size. All right. This is what I wanted to show you. The moment I uploaded the file and image, you saw what image it was. This is the interpretation. Very unlikely of anger, very unlikely of sorrow, very likely of joy. Now let's see this image which we uploaded like this. Look at this and look at this outcome in terms of landmark confidence. And above you will find all the landmarks and all, like you can see all this detail. Like if you see all this detail that has came from the Cloud Vision API. And let me start from beginning. It will have a lot of information which is there. These all came as an output. So every object it is identifying, it's checking different attributes to it. Where is the left eye, where is the right eye, left of the eyebrow. So you can go through all this detail and try to understand to what degree we are kind of analyzing an image. Normally we are analyzing more than a human eye will do. Lower lip, what is the position, everything it is identifying from the image, and based on that it is making those interference. It's a good read to see exactly how many values we get. And this is something you will understand even immediately as a summary of it. But even these items, once you understand how these coordinates are there, in our wider session we will talk about it. So I will have to close it off. I have already went ahead of time, like 3 minutes, and other speaker would be waiting. So now let me go back to my stream here now and stop sharing the screen. All right, so first thing, sorry about the disruption that we had. And the second thing, we have walked through the various attributes of the machine learning at the beginning, and then we also tried to do a lab. We just took one example, we uploaded it into the cloud platform, we walked through the cloud platform, and then we saw like how it works, right? How does it interprets the image and gives us a lot of information. It's a matter of practice. A wider session will help you more. I invite you to our enhanced sessions, which would be generally a 1 day workshop. And yeah, I can see there's a question: how expensive is this service, image processing in GCP? So for Google pricing, we have a specific documentation, and depending upon the nature, the size, just by calling image, it won't be understood. Like what would be the size of it, how many images we are gonna use. So the pricing, there is a pricing tag in the table which can be seen. um, Depending upon what you want to do and what is the volume and what is the size, pricing will depend on that. But if you wish, you follow us on our different channels and you can post your question there as well. I will share you the link of the Google pricing where you can check it. Generally the pricing is uh, in- okay, generally the pricing is not dependent on uh, on the criteria that you are talking about. uh, how much space you are using. If you go to the Google pricing, even if you just type on Google and check Google Cloud Platform pricing, you will get a number of attributes. Now whether you are an organization, are you an individual, are you an enterprise, based on that the packages will be given. Plus when you are using this machine learning model, what kind of support you want from Google, based on that you will have your a different pricing package. uh, and it's a good read actually. And if you are willing to write cloud certification exams, generally you have questions around pricing as well. So all I have to say is that it depends on multiple factors. You can go through the details and then you can see um, for what kind of support, what kind of sizes, what is the pricing, which also gets updated with time. So you have to keep and yourself fine tuned with the actual pricing that you have. Most of the organization, what they do, they have a team which analyzes the pricing at a given point of time, and they realize what are their needs and what then needs are not there. So what I will do is I will see if there is any pending question here. I I'm just taking a while. Yeah. Uh, okay. The question is: have you ever used a TensorFlow on a portable? Okay, I missed the question on the screen. Can somebody paste it on the chat? Okay. Um, that gets locally processed, is that even possible, so we don't have to use cloud resources? Now okay, this question could be tricky in certain way. Well, like, what are we trying to actually achieve here? Are we trying to achieve that we don't use cloud resources, rather we use TensorFlow on a portable TPU and get it locally processed? Technically, if you ask me, yes, for sure. I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter that you have to use this TensorFlow, and that is how many devices are being developed which works standalone. Technically, it will not stop you from using this technology. The only question is, how do we use it? Where is it available? And what exactly purpose you are trying to serve, right? So, as a TensorFlow module, because it is available as open source already, the moment you make any technology open source, there is always possibility to retweak it in many different ways. So you're not kept into a limitation in that order that you have to use it only on this way. At least not that I'm sure of. In terms of TensorFlow, I'm pretty sure that if you have any such project to do where you don't want to use cloud resources, rather you want to use a TensorFlow model and make a standalone program from yourself, I believe you can very well do that. All right. So do we have any other questions which is outstanding? Give me a second. Let me check with my team. All right. So I just got a notification that our next speaker is also in line. But while they set it up, uh, we will um, we will walk through a little bit more on the cloud platform. Let's try to check another image. Let me see if I can do a Jamboard thing. Okay. So what I want is, let's do an activity. I will show you an image, and let's try to see. Let me put it on the screen. Let's see how we analyze things. I'm just taking a minute to bring you something on screen. So what I will do is, in the meantime, we can do a workshop. Uh, I, I'm going to take you to a Jamboard. All right. So uh, our next speaker is here. So probably we'll have to stop here and then welcome Ram. Thanks for joining in. And Ram will walk you through a different aspect of careers with cloud. However, what we were continuing around machine learning, we have so many sessions planned in future where we will engage you in actual hands-on. We'll work together and try to work together towards certification. So I will leave you at this note, that try to understand a machine learning thing from a human learning perspective. Try to understand how do you compare and see how these two attributes are different, how much it is similar. What is the beginning point to start with? Quick Lab, I will not say is probably the best thing to go with, but definitely a really nice start. So you can use the quick lab platform. You can reach out to us to get the access around this. We eventually do those sessions. And thank you so much for joining the session. I will drop off. I want to do the jam board because Ram was getting late, so but since he's here, I will further engage you guys in our next upcoming session. Touch us with us, follow us on all the social media. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome, Ram. Go ahead
Thank
with
you,
the
Vimal. Just want to make sure that you guys can hear me well. Am I audible, Vimal? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to quickly share my screen, and what we are going to see today is going to be pretty interesting. Um, we're going to discuss about the career opportunities with cloud technology and how it has evolved over a period of time, and where do we stand today, and in the middle of all of the challenges due to COVID, uh, how the job opportunities are still uh, possible for people who are kind of trying to look for new jobs, or somebody who is as a freshers trying to put their first step into the technology world. How do you adapt? And just to give some positive stats, which actually is quite interesting to see how, in spite of the COVID challenges, how cloud technology has still enabled us to still be working with those products and platforms and applications, just like the way people would be working in person at their workplaces. So I want to start with Gartner's Magic Quadrant. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this Gartner's Magic Quadrant, but um, Gartner is a well-known research organization like Forrester. Gartner does their research, and they produce reports on a yearly basis. So they produced a report last year on the, and it's called Magic Quadrant. They represent their research in terms of a Magic Quadrant. And the chart that you guys are looking at this point, as you guys can see, the Magic Quadrant has four different quadrants in which they position somebody who's a niche player. And we can see at this point of time, IBM, Oracle, Alibaba, or Tencent Cloud are all on the niche players, which means they are in the service, and they are trying to get to the visionary. And we can also see that Google, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, all three have already moved into the leaders quadrant. So the highest, more valuable is the leaders quadrant. So the top three players as of today are Google, Microsoft, and Amazon Web Services. And one of the key changes that Gartner has done as part of producing a report for cloud platform this year was that they started including vendors that are considered are people who are providing services at a database platform as a service level, or application level, or as an application developer level, or providing certain functionalities as a service on the cloud platform. So these are the four different types of vendors who have been included as part of considering them to be on this Magic Quadrant. So at this point of time, I think the last year it was Amazon Web Services and Microsoft moved in, and as of 2020, we saw Google also moving into the leaders quadrant. So we'll focus mostly around some stats and job opportunities around the leaders, but also be aware that there are other companies who are also kind of competing to get to the level of uh, top three leaders. So some of the major players in cloud technology today, as most of you are well aware, other than the top three players that we just saw on the Magic Quadrant, which is Google, Microsoft Azure, and Amazon Web Services, there are also other cloud providers. Somebody like Oracle, Alibaba, IBM, DigitalOcean, Verizon, Cloud Sigma, Red Hat. So there's a lot more cloud service providers who are now in the market. They are competing against each of the services. There is a constantly evolving technology and features getting added every day as we speak. And there's been a tremendous growth since the year the cloud technology has started engulfing us. So some of the facts that was kind of interesting is uh, cloud jobs are predicted to be one of the strongest tech careers of 2020. And due to COVID, there is no drop in terms, or there is no significant drop in terms of the job opportunities that were opened up for people who are pursuing their career on cloud technology. So if you're somebody who has been aspiring to work around cloud technology, or if you have been in the market in 2020, you would have clearly seen that the job posts are still almost at par with 2019. It hasn't seen a big drop. There was a stagnant period, though, at the start of the year due to COVID, I think in March and April. But then people started still onboarding people with those cloud skills, especially people who have multi-skill with Azure and AWS and combination of skills. Those were people who were highly kind of approached by employers. And there's an estimation that 83% of enterprises will be in the cloud this year, which means most of the organizations that have been having their data centers on premise have been moving towards cloud. And there are approaches and strategies that we will also look at as part of their migration journey towards cloud. And nothing has stopped in terms of their migration plan because of the value and the cost benefits and the service availability that they are looking in terms of moving their application in cloud. Those factors has not been affected because of the COVID situation or a pandemic situation like this. And also, Gartner predicts that the cloud service market will hit 331 billion, which would make the cloud service industry 3 times bigger than the overall IT services. And there are a lot of reports coming from Indeed, different job search engines, Forrester, and everything seems to be still a good positive vibe in terms of the cloud technology. And as a matter of fact, you will also start seeing that there will be a high demand for people with cloud skills, and the supply versus the demand needs to be meeting at some point. It has to be at the same level. So just want to make sure that that you guys continue to focus on your cloud learning. Maybe AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, or IBM cloud products. Make sure that you choose a particular domain, and we'll start seeing those domains in which you can pay more focus and get yourself like some specialized cloud skill that are in demand in the market. And Indeed has reported that between 2015 and 2019, there has been increase of 55% of job seekers per million for cloud computing jobs, grew by 20.71%. So these are all great news about cloud technology and how the industries are adapting and transforming towards cloud. The top three service providers like AWS and Google Cloud and Azure, you guys can see that they have seen significant increase on of job search. These are like amazing numbers, and obviously the numbers will continue to grow because of the continuous evolving technology and the platform offerings which we might be getting out of these three service providers. Now, market spending. So how much are people spending on different types of cloud? Maybe a software as a service, or a platform as a service, or infrastructure as a service, or business process platform as a service. Somebody are providing now as an outsourcing service as well on the cloud platform. So you can see that since 2008 to 2020, the cost that has been spent by the service providers have been significantly increasing on all aspects. Maybe the infrastructure, the platform as a service, and software as a service. The cost has always continued to increase, and I feel the trend would continue to grow. The infrastructure as a service is now becoming more and more cheaper, depending on the kind of service that you're expecting out of those infrastructure. So there are different types of ways in which you can use those infrastructure. Some could be on-demand service infrastructure. Some could be reserved services that you could use for a specific amount of time. So you can control the cost, and each of the service provider like Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud are providing you guys a cost estimator on their website. So in case if there is a company that would like to move from on-prem to cloud, they can use those cost benefit calculator. The cost estimator on each of the service provider will help them understand what would be the cost if they are looking to migrate to cloud. And there has been a significant amount of savings that people are seeing, and that's the bigger attraction. There is a cost saving, there is improved services and availability of those platform services. So people are seeing a great growth on the cloud technology. According to Goldman Sachs study, the top three initiatives that they have identified are the focus areas are around the mobile devices, cloud computing, and security. So as you guys can see that cloud computing has been one of the top three initiatives. So people are continuously focusing, enterprises are continuously focusing on moving their applications to cloud and building it on cloud, adding new features on the cloud. And they're also looking at how do I optimize my service on cloud? How do I bring best practices to manage the cloud services? And how do I reap more and more benefits as new services are emerging on the cloud platforms that are hosted? So it has been the top three initiatives that Goldman Sachs has found. And I also want to make sure that you guys look at the cloud computing salary. There are reports from different organizations. One of the reports that you guys can look at in terms of the pay scale, what are the salary ranges for different types of jobs on cloud technology. So this is a link where it's kind of focused more on India, depending on the location. If you just do a Google search on pay scale on cloud computing, it will give you a custom link, or it will take you to the site where you will see, specific to your location, specific to the country you're looking at, you will see the salaries. And moving on. Now, what skills should I be looking at if I want to kind of focus? These are the top 5 tech skills that have been identified. And as you guys can see, it's the first one is always the platform. If you're on AWS platform, if your organization is trying to move the application that they have on-prem into AWS, the first and foremost thing is you need to understand the platform, the AWS platform itself, its services. What are the services that are offered? How do I configure on AWS? So that is definitely the important skill that every organization today is looking at when people are being hired for cloud technology. And a programming language like Python or any other equivalent programming languages, definitely there are skills and there are need for developers on cloud platform. And there are other skills like Java, Linux, open source knowledge. So you can see that overall the SQL knowledge. So these are skills that across all the platforms, irrespective of AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, there is an expectation that people who are going to be working on these platforms have some understanding about some programming languages, some SQL knowledge, some platform specific knowledge as well as they are moving into it. And these are top 5 skills, but it's not limited to this. There are other job opportunities on the cloud technology today that we will also be looking at. Now, I also wanted to pause here for a minute and talk about journey to cloud. So as an organization, if I am today hosting my application on premise, and I have my own data center and I'm using it on-prem, what are the journey stages? The way I look at the stages is, the first and foremost is a consulting stage. The way I look at the consulting stage is like seeking some advice from somebody like an architect, involving an architect, looking at the current state of the infrastructure, the application metrics, and looking at what should the strategy that I should be using if I'm at all looking to migrate towards cloud. So what are the cost benefits? What are the security that I should be looking at? What is going to be my governance when my applications are going to be hosted on cloud platform? What are the data privacy factors that I should be concerned about as I'm planning to migrate my on-prem application to cloud? So a lot more things like that. All of that happens on the first stage. I call it as consulting stage, or a stage that you seek advice from architects. And you also involve network engineers. You also involve developers for their feedback. So it's a kind of like a consultation with each of the stakeholders who will be uh, kind of playing key roles on managing your application on cloud. So the early consultation is very important. You plan for the strategy. Am I going to do a lift and shift of my application? Is there a timeline that I have to move my application to cloud? All of those parameters does influence your strategies. For example, let's say if you have been given a mandate to move your cloud application, your on-prem application to cloud within a specific timeline, let's say within the next 6 months, then chances are you are not going to have enough time to do optimize your application to make it more cloud native. So in those situations, the best strategy would be to lift and shift, of course, by looking at the security cost and everything, and moving your assets set up into cloud, and then start thinking about or planning about how do I optimize it, make it more cloud native. So those are all the things that happens when we talk about a consulting stage. The second part of it would be, I would say, the next stage is kind of like the migration strategy. And in migration, you work with your network engineers, you work with your database engineers, you work with your developers, you work with your security and compliance team. You bring in your privacy officers to make sure that the migration is planned well. There is a proper deployment that's happening on the cloud platform, so users are not seeing any service disruption, and the experience is as similar or better on cloud when they are accessing your application. So that's kind of like more on the migration. You bring in all different skill sets of people, have a project plan for migration deployment, and it's agile practices that needs to be involved as well. So you think about all of those in the migration part of your journey to the cloud. The third and most important stuff, now once I moved my application on cloud, how do I build on cloud? What are the things that I need to think about? So you might want to start looking at making some of them application features and services to be more cloud native. Now I need to start ensuring that my developers have seamless experience building the application using the cloud platform as or a better experience than they used to do it in the past. So you want to make sure that each of the teams, not just your end users, but every team that were working on building this application while it was on premise, do see the benefit and experience greater agility and better deployment plans to host an application on the cloud. Now, the third stage is optimizing and adopting. Why do we have to optimize? The moment you move your application, as many of you know, the cloud is going to offer you more and more services. There are new features that each of the cloud service provider are going to roll out. So it's a ongoing journey. Like uh, it's not really like a sprint where you run from point A to point B and you say, I'm done with my cloud journey. Rather, this is more like a marathon. You have to continuously run longer, have multiple sprints, make sure that you take a time to take a step back, look at the metrics in terms of performance, look at the cost metrics, look at the security parameters time to time, audit yourself on cloud, and identify the services and features that could become more cloud native using, and the moment I say cloud native, it's using cloud offerings itself. So how do I use more cloud offerings on in terms of optimizing? And you also must start adopting some best practices. Now, in cloud, the benefit is you need to start adopting some process improvements and also adopt best practices from the industry and from your peers. So you cannot move all your application into cloud and keep using your older process, or not use or not even look at the practices that needs to be changed. So now, once the moment you're on cloud, you need to start thinking about How do I improve my DevOps practice? How do I improve my agile practice? How do I manage and do an operational support of my cloud application on cloud? So things are going to change. So you're going to use a new process. You're going to redefine your frameworks. You're going to start bringing in some best practices and tools that enables more integration opportunities between different services. The benefit with cloud is now you're not locked with a vendor. You can continue to explore options to integrate with multiple vendors, and even you can connect between different cloud applications or cloud service providers. Those are a big benefit that now we are seeing as we move towards cloud. And the last and the important stuff is, now I have optimized, I've adopted the best practice. Now I need to start managing this. The moment I say managing, it kind of goes like a circle, right? Like the moment you get into a phase of managing your cloud application, now you need to continuously have consultation about with your architects to see what are the new features that are offered by the service provider, cloud service provider like AWS or Google Cloud or Azure. Now, how do I use it? Is that a best service that I can complement with, or is there a service that needs to be replaced? Because as I said, with cloud, the bigger benefit is you're going to see evolving features and services that are going to be continuously optimized. So you need to manage all of the first four stages and continue to build and optimize and make sure that you are using the most secure and the latest offerings of the cloud platform in a way that it benefits the organization, benefiting the users of the application. So that's my view of how do you, what's your, the stages that I'm looking at when I'm thinking about a cloud journey, right? Now, as we saw the journey to the cloud, the mindset is very important. Now, you have to have a certain mindset to make sure that all of those stages that we saw as a journey to the cloud is going to be kept at its best result. How do I get the best result of each of the stages? So the mindset plays a very important role. Uh, you're changing the infrastructure, and that requires the change in terms of process. There are skill sets that needs to be added to people's list. People should be skilled enough to support the application on cloud. Now, there is a need for learning. There's a need for upskill of people. There is a need for looking at the bigger picture. The team as a whole needs to see the value of getting to that journey. So you have to, as a leader of an organization, you need to always ensure that your team has a clear vision, looking at the bigger picture of what is the result going to look like. How is my journey to the cloud going to benefit me, my organization, and my end users of the application? So the team must be very well informed. They should see the benefits. They should understand the skill gaps, and there has to be opportunities provided to the employees to upskill their skills to support and continue to support the organization and the end users. Now, the key important thing, as I mentioned before, is everybody who is working on cloud must understand that this is a continuous journey. You need to make conscious strategy. You need to place proper governance at the very start of your cloud journey. And people on this entire path must understand that the cloud technology is going to rapidly evolve. The services that were offered by AWS or Google Cloud in 2019 has significantly increased in numbers in 2020, and it will continue to grow abundantly. So there has to be a clear understanding that I need to have a timely check or a point where I need to stop and look at my infrastructure, look at the service offerings, and kind of validate to see if I'm reaping the best offerings of my cloud platform. The benchmarks will change. So what I mean here as benchmarks will change is in the past, or at a point where we are right now, things are changing. So when people moved from on-premise to cloud platform, the benchmarks were in terms of quality, the benchmarks in terms of security, or the benchmarks in terms of availability of the service, the benchmark in terms of the performance, were based on what they were experiencing previously on premise. Now, that's going to change. Now, people have started moving into cloud. I think we saw 83% of enterprises will be on cloud this year. So, which means people will start comparing their metrics based on how their application or their users are experiencing services on the cloud platform. So your benchmarks will start changing. As you guys know, most of the cloud service providers, especially talking about the top three cloud services providers, like Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud, their benchmark for availability is, for most of the services, is 99.9%. In fact, they're going on a 99.79 availability, which means the availability metric has changed from on-premise to cloud, and it will continue to see improvements as they roll out new features. They will make sure that there is high availability across the platform, across the services, high performance and throughputs on every aspect of their services. So those are benchmarks that will also start changing. So you need to also look at what benchmarks am I using? Is that at par with the industry offerings and the service providers offerings? So those needs to be things that needs to be kept in the mindset as well. Now, best practices, as we just mentioned about, how do I kind of use my agile practices on cloud platform? How do I use the best of my DevOps resources? How do I place my site reliability engineers? How do I build a cross skill between different levels of support teams? How would the integration opportunity will help benefit my organization? The moment we talk about integration, I'm also talking about automation. What are the automation opportunities that are available on cloud? How can I seamlessly eliminate some of the manual process that required few hours into a simple Lambda function or a cloud functions on Google Cloud? So how do I use such functions to automate some of those processes? How do I use notification email services even better? How do I integrate different kind of notification services on cloud? Things like that. So those are opportunities that now we have. We are not locked with a particular vendor. You can always scale up, scale down, integrate with different applications. Those are like humongous benefits. The other aspect is moving towards cloud native. Every service and functions that we are deploying, the more we go cloud native, the better benefit and performance that we will see, and also cost benefits. Because each of these three service providers, the moment they roll out any service and offerings, they keep a lot of parameters in mind. Will this service offering that I'm providing to my clients, does this provide cost saving for them? Does this provide high availability? Does this improve high performance? So they do take tons of parameters into consideration. Does this eliminate a pain point that they have been facing with their application? Does this give them an analytical report using artificial intelligence? So a lot of such cloud native offerings needs to be embraced, and there should not be a resistance to try out and use those services and do a proof of concept, right? That's more important. It's not a blind adoption of a service offering. You do a proof of concept mindset, try it out, see the benefit, do your cost benefit analysis, look at the performance metrics, the availability metrics, and then move towards cloud native, right? And there's a lot of good reports, and one of the good reports that I wanted to share with you guys is from Gartner. They provide great reports in terms of things that needs to be kept in mind the moment I'm talking about cloud strategy, things like that. Now, coming to the core part of this presentation, it's about the job opportunities now on cloud platform. So you guys might be aware at this point that there has been a lot of demand for people with cloud skills, especially people with AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure. They have been on a high demand. Job hunters have been looking at people's profiles. They use a lot of keywords to find your profiles. Make sure that you have a social media presence, especially something like LinkedIn, that is really being looked at a lot of job hunters today to find the right skills. And there are different job domains now as we talk about cloud technology. Until now, we have been talking about cloud technology as an umbrella, but it has its own strings. There are specific domains in cloud technology that you guys can start focusing on. So you find your skill that aligns with the specific domain in cloud technology and start upskilling yourself. So some of the jobs that are like in demand today are cloud engineers or system administrators in the past. Now people need the organizations are looking forward to people who can manage as a system administrator on the cloud. There is a high demand for developers, especially full stack developers, and DevOps engineers are in high demand to work on cloud applications. Cloud architects are required. People who have been architecting on premise now have been expected to upskill themselves on cloud platform, and they are in a very high demand to make sure that they build a resilient system, like a high availability infrastructure at a best cost to the organization. So cloud architects at different levels, like there is an associate level on both, or on every platform that you look at, there is a beginner level, which is like an associate architect, and there is a professional architect with certain levels of experience on architectural systems. So cloud architects, it's something, a separate path where you can explore job opportunities. And each of the service providers have given their own certification paths. They will tell you what certification you must take in order to become a cloud architect. And you can always have a combination of one or more cloud skills, not necessarily just one skill. If I'm a cloud architect, I can go ahead and also kind of add and complement my skills with data engineering, data scientist, or security and compliance on cloud. So these are all things that will work together and make you a strong professional in cloud. There are also opportunities for cloud security and compliance people. So now, as you guys know, security is foremost concern for anyone. So we need people. Today's market is requiring people who has skills and who understands the SOC compliance or the ISO standards, the concerns around people mindset about how secure is my application on the cloud. So all those has been clearly addressed. There's tons of articles that talks about it. You can also take certifications on each of these platforms, build your profile around different security application, like maybe Veracode, Qualys, like a lot of such tools that are now being used on cloud to scan cloud application. Make sure that you guys understand what the path would be if I'm looking at something like a cloud security and compliance, also data governance, right? So things like that. If you master those skills, and there's a demand for those kind of jobs as well. Cloud analyst. So here I'm combining a lot of things together as cloud analyst. Today, I see personally that there is a need for business analyst or a system analyst who understands requirement gathering, designing, documentation, kind of leading the conversation as agile program managers. So these are roles that are in demand with cloud skills. So if you have cloud skills, you understand the infrastructure, you understand the cloud service offerings, it's easy for you guys to work in these organizations that is going to surround you with cloud. So it's very important as a business analyst in today's market, if I'm working in a technology world, to understand the benefit of cloud, to understand the service offering, to understand the platform. So everybody must have a good understanding about what the difference between on-premise and cloud technology or a platform, and what are the benefits. Why are people moving from on-premise to cloud technology? So these are very important things that to keep in mind. And people who are interested in data engineering, data scientists. There is a high demand for network engineers who has good understanding about using networking tools, managing networking on the cloud. There is a high demand for automation engineers to as well, and also there's a high demand for QA, quality assurance, and test engineers on cloud platform. So these are just like a bunch of job domains within a cloud technology. You can also have more specialization like machine learning, IoTs on cloud. So I have just taken few things around those job domains so that everybody understands that you do not have to be necessarily a programmer or a developer to look for jobs in cloud platform or around cloud technology. So make sure that you guys do understand that there are plenty of job opportunities for everybody, and you guys are make sure that uh, just give me 1 minute, guys. I just lost the screen. All right. Yeah. So understand the different job opportunities available to you. Identify your skills. Look at the certification paths. Look at the contents. Understand the job market. Look at the salaries scales for each of those jobs. See what best fits you. And again, hybrid skills are always the bigger benefit for the organization and for yourself as well. So always make sure that you are having hybrid skills in cloud, which will help you think out of box and understand and be able to work with different teams as well. Now, just want to focus here, and we have a specific session today on Google Cloud's certification path, and we have an amazing speaker from Google who is going to go in detail about this. But I just want to give you a snapshot about how the certification paths in Google Cloud. So there is an associate level, there is a professional level, and basic 6 months of experience on Google Cloud, you can go for cloud engineer. But if you have already been a network engineer, you can directly go to professional as well, like applying for a cloud architect certification. There is DevOps specific certifications as well. So I don't want to go in deep because we have a specific session to go in detail on this. So moving on. Uh, so that's pretty much where I want to pass now, and make sure that if there's any questions coming from the audience, we do address those questions as well. So let me switch back. Okay, so Vimal, if you can hear me, are there any questions from the audience that we should be discussing at this point of time? Okay, great. Anybody on the stage would like to come online? Okay, so I'm not sure if Vimal is online. So Vimal, if you would like to come on stage and discuss your perspective about jobs and the career path. We briefly discussed about it today. From your perspective, how do you see things changing? I know you embraced cloud, and how has your journey been? And what's your advice for students? I know you work very closely with students from universities and colleges. So I want to hear from you. I think your advice would be great for students. So your thoughts and advices, especially in a situation like this, where people are looking for more co-op opportunities. Any suggestions and tips in approaching employers and upskilling?
Okay, so certainly, like so many things are happening around, and it's we are living in a continuous changing world. Like every 6 months, you see down the line, and you have something to talk about that that is newer, that is different, and you have to keep realigning yourself. I guess the very concept of DevOps has been applied on the world globally by itself. So when it comes to the Google or any cloud computing platforms, right? As we all know, like this technology has never been old technology. I mean, if somebody goes back and try to search when we started talking about it, it has been a long time. And at many occasions, like I have spoken about my views that why is it so that today we are talking about cloud computing as a new technology, evolving technology, while it had been there for decades and decades. So one of the reasons which I always have communicated, which I feel is right, is more from the infrastructure point of view. We had the technology, but we did not have the infrastructure to support it. If we try to see like 20, 30 years down the line, um, even if you had the technology, what are you going to do with the broadband and 2G? Can you actually access your resources and the heavy resources via that internet infrastructure? Probably some of the big organizations for certain kind of processing or data, they can use it, but it was not available to the general users in general. But now when we have came to the 4G, we seem to be talking more about it, and we seem to be talking more and more about it. So eventually what will happen when we have the 5G? How is it going to transform it globally? Like right now we are going to make a transitional shift. The moment we will have 5G in picture, the very way the cloud computing looks like, the very way it was adopted, still the adoption is very wide. But I believe in coming time, in few months, if not years, we are definitely going to see a wider shift, and we have to be mentally prepared for it. So for students, if you have to talk about it, we have to see that are you looking from the perspective which others are not looking? Are you ahead of the time? So first thing I would suggest, get into the wider discussion around this. Open up your thought process. Let's think what may come and how to prepare ourselves. Are we thinking about quantum computing? I'm not talking to get into the detail of it, but are we aware what would be the right point to learn about it? So awareness is more important, getting involved is more important, and it is a consistent progress. So anything that I will say may have expiry date of 3 months from now or 4 months from now. So if I say something now and somebody is watching this video after 6 months or 1 year, probably you may say, no, this is not relevant. And I agree, it is not relevant. You will have to listen to me again after 1 year if you want my views at that point of time. So that would be my thought, Ram. Probably you can add few things to it.
Great. So I think what I want to make sure people understand is uh, now, as a student, somebody who is getting introduced to cloud, what is the best way for me to learn? If somebody's looking forward to learn without much of cost involved, I just want to make sure that people are aware that uh, at least that I'm aware of, the three major players like Azure, Google Cloud, and Amazon Web Services, they do provide all of the learning opportunities for free. And they also provide you guys almost 1 year of trial trial kind of experience, so you can just simply sign up with Google Cloud or AWS. They give you free credits. I think Google provides, I might be wrong quoting the dollars here, but Google Cloud provides around $400 worth of free services that you can simply sign up on Google Cloud, go host your own virtual machines, kind of play around the platform. So there are free tiers that Amazon Web Services provides. So up to a certain size, you don't have to worry about it. And if you're an individual user trying to just learn the technology, you can very well go ahead and start playing around it. It's absolutely safe. They don't charge you guys unless you guys completely forget about something, and they do the due diligence to keep you guys notified about your usage limits. Even before they charge you, they send you at least few notifications, and you can always go ahead and disable your account so you're not charged. So all I'm trying to say is there are opportunities. The companies are providing free learning tools platform. It's really the time that you as a student should be utilizing to your most benefit, right? And that is foremost thing I want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. And you guys also as a student should be looking at your local community events. There are there are kind of a lot of technical conferences that are happening. Somebody like us, who is GDG Cloud Toronto, we focus mostly on Toronto, but due to COVID, now we have expanded online, and we will continue to do this online going forward as well. So we don't really look at shrinking ourselves to a geographical location, not anymore. This has been kind of like an opportunity for us to go global. So on a monthly basis, we will continue to deliver our learning and share with you guys, with also giving you free credits, making sure that you guys are well supported with a bunch of volunteers. There is a and the way we support is usually it's kind of like a one-on-one support. Though we have 50 people, we have 40 volunteers, we make sure that every question that's being asked is addressed, and we try to connect with individuals in terms of job opportunities to discuss about their personality development, things like that. So I want to make sure that everybody is aware about what we do for the community and join hands with us, and make it and amplify the growth of technology and its adoption. One more question to you, Vimal, specifically. What I want to ask is, today, with this DevFest, how has been your experience so far? And just want to understand from that note as well, like what are the things that are coming next? If somebody hasn't attended the sessions since yesterday, I know there are videos that are available that people can go back and play and get benefit. But I know there is a workshop that's happening, which is a hands-on workshop. I guess you guys did that for continuous 5 hours yesterday on a Zoom meeting. So it wasn't on a YouTube, but there was a continuous 5 hours of hands-on workshop uh, that happened on, and the focus, if I'm not wrong, it's on DevOps, right? So the focus in this DevFest has been DevOps. So is there time for people to join? Because I know there is part two of the session happening today.
Yeah.
I want to ask that. Is there an opportunity for somebody who's interested to join? Or are there going to be future events? How can people join? Help people understand that.
Okay, so I would rather recommend that people who wants to be part of this, since we already have done the larger chunk of that workshop yesterday, and today we would be continuing from there. So 75% workshop is already completed. All the participants actually completed 60% of the workshop, and they will complete. Many of them had enrolled for a certificate of completion, and they will be getting it. So I will not really invite folks who have not joined yesterday to come today, because really
Mhm.
it won't be the best use of their time. Rather, I will invite them to come to our future session, now, because this workshop that we do is already very compact and packed with a lot of things at a small time. So let's not overburden ourselves. It's not needed, because we keep doing this session all the time. Other observation which I have is, eventually, as you said, we did workshop on the Zoom, and we are having this streaming session on YouTube. There is the reason behind this is a lag of that 5 to 10 seconds between while I'm speaking and while you are listening. After the 5G is going to come, hopefully this lag will get eliminated, and the moment it will get eliminated, the outreach is gonna increase in a very different way. Now there are the opportunity that we have got is to reach out to the wider audience, limitless in a way. When we stream from YouTube, we have certain limitations from Zoom or WebEx or Google Meet, in terms of the number of audience it can entertain. So there are pros and cons of this. I'm pretty sure the next year at the same time when we would be speaking, probably we will have some more far enhanced tools available, where we will have a wider outreach, we will have a lot of participation at the same time, and we will not have this lag as well, which is leading us to go to a different platform. It's not about saying this platform is good or that platform is good. It's about me as a user, or me as a customer for that matter. Do we have a wider audience, sorry, wider options available? Can I choose that, okay, I want to go with this because of this, or I'm going to one platform to other platform because one platform offers me a limitation and other platform offers me a different limitation. So that has to get away when I think from the perspective of end user or a customer. So on that note, I believe we are at dot 9, and I think our next guest speaker is already in. So yeah. So from my end, I would like to thank all the participants who has spent the time with us, spoke to us over chat, and have listened to us. we would like to have this communication ongoing. Connect to us with all different mediums, and there are a lot more that we have in our package in our forthcoming event. Ram, your final words, and from my side, thank you so much, guys.
No, just want to make sure that continue to explore, continue to take benefit of the free offerings, continue to learn, use this time of the year to upskill yourself. If you are in the middle of a job change, losing some job opportunities due to pandemic, just be aware it's not going to be a permanent, right? It's very temporal, and we are already seeing things getting eased. There are good news about vaccines. So stay positive, stay healthy, stay safe during this pandemic situation, and make sure upskilling is always happening. So the moment the market is bouncing back, you guys are able to grab the best opportunity in the job market. So with that, I want to give you best of luck for everybody. So I want to also make sure that we are kind of giving a handoff to our next speaker who's lined up. Vimal, would you like to introduce?
Sure.
And we can wrap up here.
Sure, folks. So our next speaker is really somebody with whom we can learn a lot. Her name is Margaret, and she is from Google. She's program manager over there, and primarily she deals with Google certification path. So probably many of us may have that question: if I have to learn this cloud computing thing, and if it has to be Google, what should be the right approach? What is available? Out of all the area of different options that I have, what I must choose? So there cannot be anybody best than Margaret who can guide us on that, and we can take up this question if you have that sort of confusion. She works closely with Google and the structures. She probably is also involved with designing those structure that is laid out. So this is a great opportunity for our participants to listen directly with her and get enlightened and take a wise decision how to go on a certification path. So let's have Margaret on the stage, and then she can take it over from here.
I need to unmute myself before y'all can hear me. Isn't that the
Hi.
saying? Funny, muted. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, my name is Margot, and I am from Google Cloud. And so today, and what a lovely transition it was, we will be talking about up-leveling with getting Google Cloud certifications. So let's get to it. So again, thank you for having me today. My name is Margot, and I am the go-to-market lead for certifications at Google. I've been at Google for a little under 6 years, where I've been working with the Google Cloud certifications in particular for the past 3. I'm so excited to share the next hour with y'all, so let's dive on into it. So today's discussion will be covering 4 topics. The first, demand for cloud computing roles. The second is Google Cloud's learning resources, in particular, the Google Cloud certifications. 3, what are the benefits of getting certified? And 4, what resources are available to you today? So, demand for cloud computing roles. So as you know, Google Cloud and cloud skills in general continue to be in a high demand. The increase in cloud adoption has resulted in corresponding increases in the need for workers skilled in cloud technologies. On the employer demand for cloud computing roles, it includes infrastructure, security, architecture, and engineering. This has almost risen 33% in the last 3 years. Now, as cloud adoption continues to grow and as cloud skills are in high demand, we're seeing the same thing with the Google Cloud skill set being the fastest growing in demand, with around a 67% increase year over year. More specifically, with getting upskilled, Google Cloud training in particular has seen a growth of 6x in learners year over year. So the rise of a multi-cloud environment has really impacted the demand for the Google Cloud platform. No workload and no business requirements are the same. A one-size-fits-all answer will no longer work in today's environment. Customers want the best in class for everything and end up choosing more than just one cloud provider to meet all of their requirements. It's not enough to know just one platform. That's too narrow of a view. But also, the technological advantage of Google Cloud is being realized in the marketplace. With industrial strength machine learning and an AI offering, secure and trusted infrastructure, serverless, open source with Kubernetes and TensorFlow, and the power behind its networking and security, Google Cloud is really ready for today's IT landscape. So with all of this, what does this mean for you? Well, Google Cloud technology requires a new approach to learning, and we've built the programs that are helping this transformation. So how do you build skills to get the most out of these powerful technologies? Traditionally, IT training has largely been centered around one piece of technology, but cloud technology requires a new way of learning, and it's no longer just about learning and operating the technology. It requires a change of mindset. Google Cloud training helps you understand how to use the technology within a specific job function to build cloud solutions that drive cross-functional success. We have role-based learning to help you thrive in a cloud-first world. However, in this cloud-first world, over 75% of IT decision makers are still dealing with a skill gap. So let's discuss what can be done to make you more competitive in this current landscape. Learning resources, more specifically, are Google Cloud certifications. So Google Cloud Learning provides a comprehensive curriculum, customizable depending on where you are in your journey, combining a range of tools to deliver learning across all different modalities. This basically means we have a ton of different kinds of learning of different ways and for all the different learners that can learn. So let's cover the different types of learning that we offer. We have instructor-led, which in 2020 has transitioned into virtually instructor-led. And this is where our authorized training partners help deliver our high-quality training live or in a virtual classroom. We also have on-demand. This is learning at any time, anywhere with our online partners. They include Coursera and Pluralsight. And basically, we have our entire catalog on both of these platforms where you can learn different technologies and skills while you go through your learning journey. We also have our hands-on labs. This helps you get real practice with Google Cloud technology, like it said, on hands-on labs where you get to practice in the actual GCP platform. And this is via our partner Quick Labs. Now, the very last breadth of this is our Google Cloud certifications. And this is really a benchmark to measure your cloud skills proficiency, giving you the confidence to help build, innovate, and scale. Now, Google Cloud certification brings a framework to help equip talent for the future. We work with outside experts to get a realistic view of the job role we are certifying for. These certifications are not just about Google Cloud technologies. In fact, the initial stages of designing each certification is product agnostic. And just like the real world, examinees are expected to know the vast array of technologies they may encounter in their day-to-day jobs. In addition, we ensure the roles and certifications are truly building the skills for the future. So we update our certifications regularly to keep pace with technology and the evolution of the job role. And because of the nature of cloud, things are constantly changing. We continually engage with people doing these jobs today to make sure our exams accurately portray real life. So let's review. So as you'll notice, we have 9 exams on the slide. One is our Associate Cloud Engineer. And then we have our professional certifications. They range, and it's great to hear that there was a focus earlier this weekend on DevOps. So we have our professional cloud DevOps engineer, collaboration engineer, cloud architect, data engineer, machine learning engineer, which was our most recently added certification, cloud developer, cloud network engineer, and cloud security engineer. Now, as you can see on the right, we recommend around 6 months of hands-on experience with GCP for our associate level certifications, whereas we recommend 3+ years of industry experience and 1 year of hands-on experience with GCP for our professional. But we'll get into it a little later on how to best qualify which certification you could start with. So let's dive deeper into our more holistic learning offerings, but basically anchored around our certifications. So the question came up, what are the different learning tracks with cloud computing, and what are the possible prospective careers around them? Let's review the learning journey towards the Associate Cloud Engineer as an example. And as you can see, it is part of our infrastructure modernization track. And so as you can see in this slide, we have the different roles, possibilities as cloud admin or cloud engineer. And we'll have the perspective training and the path that we recommend that you take for each track. So for instance, we would recommend that you take the Google Cloud Fundamentals Core Infrastructure on-demand course, architecting with Google Cloud Compute Engine, and then getting ready with Google Kubernetes Engine as the first 3 on-demand courses. And then I'll talk about this a little bit later, but we also have our new learning offering, which is a skill badge. And we have the 3 complementary skill badges after this. And so I'll dive into these resources a little bit later, but I did want to touch on that a lot of the learnings do help with multiple certifications. As you can note, Google Cloud Fundamentals Core Infrastructure is the recommended first on-demand course for the professional cloud architect, the professional cloud network engineer, professional cloud security engineer, and the professional cloud DevOps engineer. And all of these certifications are bundled into our infrastructure modernization pillar. Now, in the red, I would like to note that the Associate Cloud Engineer sample questions are available on our website. Now, if you don't want a screenshot, you can find this and many more learning paths on cloud.google.com/training to see the different paths. So now that we've deep dived into the infrastructure, let's quickly take a look at our other tracks. We won't be deep diving into these tracks today, but it is worth noting our other learning tracks, which include application modernization, smart analytics, data management, machine learning and AI, and then productivity and collaboration. And like I said, please just note that the way that it is ordered is that we do recommend learning the concepts first in either a virtual or in-person classroom training or on demand, applying these skills that you've just learned on our hands-on environment via quick labs through our skill badges, and then complementarily going through the sample questions and then the study guides for the exams that have the published books, and we'll review those in a second. And speaking of, we've partnered with Wiley to publish 3 official Google Cloud certified study guides. We have them for the 3 certifications of the professional data engineer, professional cloud architect, and then the associate cloud engineer. This is going to give you a behind the scenes of everything you will need to know how to pass the certification. Stay till the end and you'll get a special offer on these and more training resources. Now, as I was saying a little earlier, if you're wondering which certification to get, this is how I would break it down. Individuals with more hands-on experience who design and implement solutions with business objectives in mind should pursue a professional level certification. Individuals who are new to cloud or new to GCP can get in the game with the Associate Cloud Engineer. It's an excellent entry point into Google Cloud Technologies and is an attainable step on the path to the professional level certification. Individuals who work specifically on technical requirements should most likely start with the Associate Cloud Engineer. Now, there is no need to start with the Associate Cloud Engineer if you wanted to skip and have the experience level to obtain a professional level. So there is no requirement or prerequisite to hold the associate level before you obtain a professional level certifications. And as we have found, more individuals have multiple certifications. In a recent study, the largest global IT skills and survey, which is from Global Knowledge, found that 84% of all IT individuals hold a certification, and then 60% of those are pursuing their second certification. And what they have found in today's landscape is that cybersecurity is the most sought after skill when it comes to an IT professional. So what individuals are doing are they're cross-certifying, i.e. getting more than one of their core role as well as cybersecurity, because individuals find that cybersecurity is the skill that is going to be in demand for the biggest breadth of roles in today's IT landscape. Now, about our certifications. The certification exam is 2 hours. The exam format is multiple choice and multiple select. Like I previously said, there are no prerequisites, but we have the recommended time and experience level set for each level of our certifications. We do recommend 3 years of industry experience, including the 1 year of designing and managing solutions using GCP for our professional level certifications. Now, if you're saying, Margot, I don't know what that looks like, I learn really quickly, how can I assess my readiness? On our certification website, you can actually find the exam guide for each certification, which talks about the high-level objectives of what is going to be tested on the exam. It's a wonderful way to use as almost a study guide. So if you're on the fence of which certification is right for you, I highly recommend you go to our website, click on the specific certification that you're interested in learning about, and then you click into the exam guide. And then you'll be able to see, like I said, all of the objectives that will be tested. And if you feel confident, that is a good sign to move forward and just dust off on any skills or technology that you may not be familiar with within this study guide. Now, new to 2020, our exam delivery methods look a little different. You can now take online proctored exams remotely, meeting the testing requirements. Please find the requirements on cloud.google.com/certification/FAQs. On-site proctored exams will continue to be offered at testing centers, but do vary based on the landscape of that country. Now, what's in it for me of getting certified? Let's jump into this and talk about this for a few minutes. In a recent survey of Google Cloud certified individuals conducted by an independent third party, we heard some incredible pieces of feedback from the market on how Google Cloud certifications have enabled and boosted skills for so many job roles within the cloud industry. 78% of respondents said words like confidence, presence, professionalism, and recognition when talking about their future opportunities after certifying with one of Google Cloud certifications. 82% of respondents felt proud to have a proof point about their skills and abilities when working with recruiters and jobs placement consultants. 83% of respondents told us that they felt more marketable, more attractive to companies overall, and much more confident in their abilities to stand out from others applying for similar roles. And finally, 85% of respondents just had the boost of confidence. They both wanted and needed to really get themselves out there and getting the opportunities they desired. Hearing so many people tell us the impact on their own career, family, and future helped us understand a few key things. Where professionals had seen a gap between what they intended to convey as their skill set and what they could not prove, the Google Cloud certifications really boosted their confidence. Some professionals even told us that the badge for a Google Cloud certification gave them the drive to apply for roles that they previously had not even considered applying for. And perhaps coolest of all, many professionals reiterated to us that once they got certified, they were keen to tell their networks about Google Cloud certification options. So in short, if you are asked, but what's in it for me? I hope these anecdotal shares and statistics drive home your own opportunities. Now, the Professional Cloud Architect was rated the #1 top-paying IT certification from the previously mentioned Global Knowledge IT Skills and Salary Survey. 93% of IT decision makers agree that certified employees provide added value above and beyond the cost of certification, and the average cloud computing professional makes over $160,000 a year. Even more, the cherry on top is the additional benefits that you get from just the confidence and from the marketplace. You can distinguish yourself with a Google Cloud certified badge and certificate. You'll be able to gain exclusive Google Cloud certified swag for our professional certifications. You can network and exchange ideas in the Google Cloud certified community, and you get special recognition at select events. So as you can see, this is an example of a backpack that you can get from one of our professional certifications. We are constantly changing the swag items that you get for our professional certifications. Personally, I have picked out a lot of the bundles that you get, and so I know that I would want it, and therefore that's how I measure whether our audience would want it. And the coolest thing right now is if you're up for recertification, you actually get certification swag each time you certify or recertify for that certification. But then there's a new category of swag that if you recertify, you get exclusive additional swag that's not available yet to the market. So just, again, a lot of benefits once you join the Google Cloud community. So what are next steps? Are you ready to start your certification journey? I'm so excited to share with you the g.co/cloud/certify. And once you go there, select your learning path based on your role and the certification you would like to work towards. We will email you a 6-week recommended learning plan with relevant training promotions from Quick Labs and Coursera and other preparation resources to help you get ready for certification. You can then schedule to take your certification exam when a testing center near you is available, or you can take it online from the convenience of your own home. To give you a better understanding of what happens when you join the certification journey, let's deep dive on the Associate Cloud Engineer learning path. So we're going to follow the link g.co/cloud/certify and select the Associate Cloud Engineer certification learning journey. You'll receive an email with a downloadable PDF outlining some recommended learning to help you prepare for the Associate Cloud Engineer certification over the next 6 weeks. To help you on your way, we'll be giving you 2 training offers and the opportunity to earn 30% off on the cost of your Associate Cloud Engineer certification exam. The 2 training offers, which you will receive, are a free month on Quick Labs to earn relevant Google Cloud skill badges, which demonstrate your cloud competence. And then for new learners to Coursera, a free month for the Cloud Engineering Learning Path, which including a course to help you prepare for the exam. You can also gain a professional certificate from Coursera upon completion of this training. As part of the certification journey, you will receive a recommended learning path and relevant training offers. The learning path is a combination of on-demand learning on Coursera, self-paced labs on Quick Labs, where you can now earn a Google Cloud skill badge by completing recommended quests as you prepare for your certification. So very similar to the subway map, we've just broken out those linear lines and made it individually to each certification. And so it follows the same path of where we recommend where you start learning the skill on demand, practicing the skill hands-on with Quick Labs, and then complementing that with the Associate Cloud Engineer Study Guide and then the Associate Cloud Engineer sample questions. Now, you've heard me say this word skill badge a few times, so let's get into it. We're excited to have launched our new Google Cloud skill badges, which we recommend as part of your learning as you prepare for any of our certifications. A skill badge is a digital badge issued by Google Cloud in recognition of an individual's cloud competency. A skill badge is earned by completing a series of hands-on labs and taking a final assessment challenge lab to test a learner's skills through the QuickLabs learning platform. 86% of IT leaders report that the shortage of cloud computing skills will slow down their cloud projects. Given this, employers are turning to digital badges to find the talent that they need, and approximately a third of HR professionals are reporting that digital badges currently carry weight in the hiring process. As well, 82% of those who have completed a skill badge and attempted the Associate Cloud Engineer pass the certification. So with the skill badge, you are able to share it on your social networks, including LinkedIn and Twitter. And like I said, the stats are just showing that it helps on your journey towards certifications. And if not, it simply helps up-level you in today's marketplace, where you can add it as a skill set on your resume as well as your LinkedIn. And basically, it's a stamp of approval from Google Cloud, because these are Google Cloud issued digital badges that show that you are good to go on the specific skill. On the screen, we see 3 of the recommended: create and manage cloud resources, setting up and configuring cloud environments, and foundational infrastructures. Like I said earlier, if you go to our training website, we have each pillar, whether it's infrastructure, data, AI, ML, and we have the recommended learning paths. So everything is online, documented, and ready for you to go after this session. Now, additionally, as part of the certification journey for the 3 tracks of the Data Engineer, Cloud Architect, and the Associate Cloud Engineer, you will also receive a 50% discount and free shipping on our engineer study guides. And like I said, if that is of interest to you, you get 50% off until December 31st. All you have to do is go to wiley.com, use the promo code. Capitals are very important, so don't forget that, GND50, and you'll receive the 50% off discount. And this is valid until December 31st, as well as the certification challenge, which provides you the 6-week templatized learning. And with that, that is the end of my presentation. I'd love to take questions from the audience, if there are any. Perfect. Well, it sounds like everyone is good to go on cloud certifications. Our recommendation is that you do take advantage of these training opportunities, because in the year 2020, these are the best deals that we have seen available. And you can't say what will be available for 2021. But if nothing else that you do after leaving today, I would definitely check out the g.co/cloud/certify in order to get the certification challenge. And that will unlock, like I said, the QuickLabs, Coursera, and the Wiley Google Cloud certification study guides available to you. And it's a great resource. Even if you're not wanting to get certified by the end of the year, this will set your certification journey up going forward. And then again, if certification is not in your future, we do highly recommend that you get your skill badges as the first step, because this is a Google Cloud verified badge that does allow you to put this on your resume and your LinkedIn as a verified skill set between you and then your current employer or new employers that you're trying to find within your roles. Now, while we are waiting for our next speaker, I can actually show you how to navigate our Google Cloud certification website to what I would recommend in your journey if you were.
We got a question, Margo.
Oh, perfect.
There's a question. There's a few questions coming in. So one is like, what's the rough timeline to get certified, and if they get distracted, how do they get back in? So because we've been running quick labs, we've been running other training programs. So some of them might have some of these pieces already, but how do you package it? Any advice on that? And how do you time it properly?
Perfect. Thank you for that question. So let me share my screen because all resources are really available to you on our website. And if you have not yet checked it out, that would be the first resource I would recommend all the time. So let me share my screen yet again, and we will go to Google Cloud Certifications. All right, perfect. Let me make sure that you can see what I see, and you can. Sweet. So let's again just use the Associate Cloud Engineer as our example. What you can see is what we expect a cloud engineer to do. So we have the job role summarization at the top of all of our exam pages. And then these are the high level objectives that we expect you to know. As well, we also feature what languages and the cost. So the associate level is $125, 2 hours. You can take it both online or on site, depending. And this is the recommended 6-month hands-on. So what we recommend is that you first need real-world experience. This isn't something that you can study for a day with no experience, cram, and then just pass the exam. It's really built, like I was talking about earlier, from individuals in the current roles, where we have them sit in a multi-day workshop, figuring out and distilling what qualities would you expect a cloud engineer to know, and you basically up-level that into business use cases. The second step is really understanding what's on the exam. This is where I was saying we have the exam guide and what I would recommend you look at as a study guide throughout the entire thing. So it's going to tell you the high-level objectives and the sub-levels that we teach and then we'll test on. And then once you've gone through this as a study guide, we recommend you round your skills out with training. And this is where we're going to have all of the online training available to you. And so let us first go to the training website so I can show you what this skills journey path looks like. Because to answer the question, what is a good enough time to get certified? There's really not one correct answer. We see a lot of 30-day to 6-week time periods. So if you're able to dedicate 12 hours a week to all of the individual trainings, and it's all very supplemental of if you know 98% of our exam guide and only need to supplement 2% of the learnings, you're obviously going to take longer than someone who's new to GCP. And so let's go to the learning paths under infrastructure modernization. And just to confirm, we are on the cloud.google.com training/cloud-infrastructure website. And let's pick our path of cloud engineer. So this will have, again, that same learning journey. So to the point of you are inundated with so many opportunities and training discounts, we have very centralized recommended learning paths for that instance because there is so much you can learn we have distilled what we think will definitely get you there from a learning objective standpoint. And so if you are going to the website, you can find the learning paths for each of the certifications on the training website. And so what you'll see is the online course, Google Cloud Fundamentals Core Infrastructure, and it goes all the way down, and it includes the skill badges that we recommend. But like I said earlier, if you do nothing else, the two things I'll add to my statement would be to check out our certification and learning landing pages, because all of this is outlined for you. And then secondly, check out the g.co/cloud/certify, because that's really going to give you that same 6-week recommended learning journey, and is available until December 31st of this year. So again, if you're not ready to take the certification, at least you can have the recommended learning paths, as well as those training discount and offers that we're providing until the end of the year. So in a long about way, we recommend you really learn at your own pace. Some people can cram all of this in 2 weeks and be ready to go. It takes people additionally sometimes 30 days to 6 weeks to prepare. And then how do you structure it? If you have all of these training resources available to you, where do you start? We have picked out selectively what we think are the recommended on-demand courses, as well as the hands-on learning via skill badges, as well as the supplementary material of the sample questions found on the certification website, as well as the Wiley official certified study guides available in the 3 certifications of cloud engineering, cloud architect, and data engineering. So this is all outlined for y'all. We would just recommend that you give it a good old look through. More questions?
Yeah, Mario, thank you. Thank you for giving all these insights to our audience. And I'm pretty sure the video that we are having right now is going to a long way. You have given a lot of information around the discount codes. Of course, everybody would be interested in the swags, and everybody was going to love it. And I believe there had been a lot of questions always in our audience. We do keep doing a lot of events and workshops around cloud, and we do get these questions around certification, particularly when they try to compare one certification from Google to certain certification from some other service provider. Uh, so the continuous evolvement, like the very first one, as you said, right, like the GCE exam. Is there any plan to bring any other beginners module, because there are many folks who are not really from that high end tech area. They just want to understand the cloud. So do you see in future we will have some more basic exam just to onboard them and understand about it?
Yes, I can't say much on this, but I will say that I would keep your eyes out, because we have heard from our definitely the industry that Google Cloud should have a introductory or business certification. So I can neither confirm nor deny, but I can basically say keep on the lookout, because we have heard these needs and we'll be delivering something of this quality the first half of next year.
Yeah. And that question was about people who are really beginners and just want to have their first flavor of this cloud certifications. And there is another set of folks who are very ambitious, brave souls who want a package. How do I get a package both in terms of the cost, both in terms of the timeline? That okay, if I will complete a complete track, whether it be architecture or a DevOps. So do we have any offering from Google where now people can take that package, plan their year, and it's not about month or so, probably they can plan the next 2 year, that in next 2 year I will have everything that it has in the bucket? Do you see anything like that coming up?
So are we talking about a planning structure or more of a cost structure? Because from a planning perspective, and I don't know if you guys share the slides after the fact, but I can pull it back up. But let me actually, while I'm talking, pull it up, and I can show you that with the way that it is structured on the subway map, for instance, a lot of the training is going to be dual certification, so it'll overlap multiple tracks. So like you can see on the infrastructure side, if you are preparing for ACE, the Associate Cloud Engineer, the first 3 on-demand courses are the first 3 of the 4 recommended for Cloud Architect. And so we don't have it like crossed over because we have so many individuals who take 2 or 3 or 4 different certifications. But what I really would do is focus on this as the high level overview. And for instance, you can see our networking and security. I mean, you'll notice that a lot of our certifications have a very near and dear cousin or like brother and sister exam, where security and networking have a lot of similarities. And so when you are preparing for one, I would just take this into consideration. And if your goal is, I want to get certified in 5 exams, not depending on what they are, you can really see which ones have these overlap qualities. So again, like I said, cybersecurity from just a non-Google, this is a third-party global knowledge study, found that cybersecurity is really that needed skill set. So what we're finding is that people are becoming certified in cloud architecture and security engineering, or DevOps and security engineering. But what you'll see from this slide in particular, there are a lot of overlaps between the exams, such as ACE and Cloud Architect, networking and security. You're going to have some similarities between your developer and the Cloud Architect certifications. The really not odd man out, but productivity and collaboration is going to be the one that really doesn't see any integration or overlaps with the others. But I think the audience today is really going to be focused on the other 8 certifications we offer. So to that point, we don't yet offer any like monetary discount of like buy 3, get the 4th one, or buy 3, get the 4th one for free. But that's always something I can bring back to the team, which is the great thing about working on it and talking to the audience today. But I would really recommend focusing on the resources like this to plan out your year-long journey, but thinking of it strategically of like, don't first get a professional level without starting at the associate level. It's kind of like building blocks that you can really, it's like a modular sofa. You can really build it as you want based on what your needs are.
Yeah, sounds good. And yeah, I really get the understanding, and I'm pretty hopeful that the audience who are hearing it now and will hear it in for the session, they will get many of their questions answered. So I have my last question, but before that, let me check if we have some question for audience. If none, I will have my last take on this. So if somebody can paste it, if there is a question, outstanding question for Margaret. Okay. In the meantime, when they're checking for the question, one thing that I guess even personally I had to check. Okay, we have either any prior programming language we need to learn. Okay, we always keep talking about it, but since you are here, you are the best person to advise on this.
So program language, again, it is really going to be dependent on which certification you're going for. And like I had mentioned, we like to make our certifications as product agnostic once we are in this workshop environment. But let me, again, share my screen because I want to teach everyone how to fish today. And so, because we get these questions all of the time, which is really good. Yeah. And so let's go to Professional Cloud Architect. And then I would go down to the exam guide. And then let's see if this is going to be as easy as I expect it to be. I don't think it's going to be, but it's going to, on each exam guide, tell you any languages. Developer might be the better one because that is more in line with having. So let me go to that one really quickly. So this is a good thing. I don't think. Okay, so programming language. This is where you recommend, general purpose programming language. And so what does that mean? If you are proficient in at least one general purpose coding language, you should be able to interpret any question that presents code snippets on the exam. So again, they try to make it as product agnostic as possible and really up level. It's not, can you write the code? It's, can you know what to do with the code to solve a specific problem within the question? So hopefully that answers. And if you have any other like product or technology specific questions of like, hey, I read this language, I know this set, or I know this platform, but I'm looking to get certified in security, for instance, I would recommend doing something similar where you first start off by going to the exam page and then going to the exam guide. And it's as easy as Control F to finding that exact question, because every piece of technology, every basically platform or skill set tested is going to be listed at a high level on the exam guide for each certification. So if it's not listed, it's not going to be tested. So you can feel confident in what you're studying and preparing. So again, first step for any certification that you're looking to get is going to the certification website, going to the exam guide, and doing something similar to that question of, if you're feeling like I need to learn something, verify that you have the skill sets by going through the exam guide. And then again, we have mapped out very like in a curated fashion, like you need to know skill X. Well, you can learn skill X by going through Coursera and Quick Labs. And along the journey, it's a almost gamified experience because, for instance, you can get your professional Coursera Cloud Architect certificate and get the digital certificate and all the cool benefits from there while earning your training towards the professional cloud architect certification. And then again, skill badges. So you can collect all of these amazing resume builders on your way to certification. And that's something that I think is super valuable for today's marketplace, is really having this cross marketplace verification of your skills from different platforms. So Coursera, Google, in terms of different skill sets, certification. So like I said, I wouldn't rush through the learning journey. We have it very mapped out clearly, but really take advantage of the resources that you get from Google, Coursera, and our other training partners, because you can then use those skill sets to verify to your current employer or help you in getting a job in the future. Because as we've seen in the market share, HR individuals are looking towards badges, digital badges, as a tell of whether you would be competent for the role, around 40% now. So we're getting where HR consultants are actually looking more at the digital badges than they are the degree that you got in college. So long-winded answer again, but everything lives in the certification, the learning websites. I would just take advantage of it as you can, learning at your own pace, but definitely taking advantage of the resources up until December 31st, because again, they're not guaranteed to be here come January 1st of next year.
Out of all the information that you have provided, I would recommend people to take away the term fish it out. And once you know that all this information is present, once you know how to fish it, as you showed at the beginning, probably people can get the information and the updated information all the time. So yeah, that would be a good takeaway. Before we leave you with the last question, which I had in mind, and I guess many of the participants would have, is why Google doesn't give feedback when they write the certification exam. Uh, they don't tell in this area you had been lacking. It's just about pass and fail. So, is there any specific reason about it? Because as a person who prepares for the exam, they of course want to make it better. But if there is some guidance to it, post exam it will be easier for them, like many of other, I'm not trying to compare it with other service providers and their certification, but even from that note, as a participant and a GCP platform which offers certification, I guess the feedback would be helpful. Or if there is any good reason for that, probably our audience would like to know that.
Yeah, totally. And that's a great question. We get it often. But really, a certification, and again, I want to make a distinction between we have digital badges, which is the entire ecosystem. You have certificates, which you can get on Coursera. You have skill badges, which you can get via Google, via Quick Labs. And then you have certifications. And certification is really the North Star and the highest achievement in which you can get in this entire landscape. And so certifications are not a training tool. It is really the highest level in the industry of marking whether you are proficient or not in a specific job role. And so we, as Google and the other IT certifications, are upheld to industry standard, an international industry standard of creating certifications. And the second that you start putting a score, mapping it back to training, it becomes more of a training tool and less of a proficiency testing tool. Mm-hmm. And so again, it's not about a score. It's really, can you do this job role, yes or no? And so that's why it's designed to not say like, the passing score is 80% and you received an 85. We really don't care how well you do it. It's can you do it or can't you do it, which Google is really focused on with our certifications. And like I said, when it comes to people feeling like they want better indicators of how they're going to perform on the certification, we've heard that feedback. And we're actually internally going back and thinking through how can we format our practice exams and our staple questions better, because right now we have 20 questions, we have the answers provided, but it's not as diagnostic as I think individuals would like it to. So as we speak right now, I'm helping lead an effort of where we're rethinking our practice exam strategy. So that in itself, we have heard the feedback and hopefully we will have a solution in the beginning of 2021. But those two reasons in itself are really why. However, we love to hear your feedback. This is something that we are passionate about. We want to hear from the community of how you think we can make it better. So again, I don't know if pen and paper, but my email address, I'm happy to share it. Send me the feedback, the questions. It's going to be my first name, M as in Mary, ARGOT, the letter B at google.com. I don't know if I could, let me throw it up on the slide. Let me present really quickly and I can write it on a slide for y'all. But yeah, would love to hear the feedback anytime. And so let me.
There we go on the screen.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, did you guys do it for me? Oh, see, that's why back end people are magical. Thank you. Saving me from making a really bad looking slide. So thank you. Email me with any questions, concerns, and comments. Like I said, we love to hear from our community. And happy to answer any questions.
Absolutely. And one thing that we can do on behalf of our participant is we can follow up with them. I know this video is going to reach out to a lot of other audience who is not present right now. And as and when we on the comment section or in any other way, we have that collection of questions, we will try to compile it from our side and we'll try to present it to you so that in in any other method of communication, we can again answer it to them. So yeah, having said that, I will say thank you so much for your time. I know it was really not the best time for you to present something, considering this event is happening globally, and the audience outreach is gonna in different time zone, and people are gonna watch this video in different time zone. That's the nature of this structure. You made your time for us. That's really amazing, and we definitely wish that in future when we have similar session like that, we'll love to invite you. And yeah, from my side, I'm sincerely thankful for you for your presence, and have a good day today. um, any final note if you have for our audience, we can have that, and then um, I guess 1 hour the time that you have given, it must be tiring at this time. So and I don't know whether you got a chance to have a morning coffee. So yeah,
I
right.
will say that it's right here.
Oh, it's
So
right there.
coffee is in hand. Thank you so much for all of your time and you paying attention to me when you could be paying attention to so many other things. Like I said, we are definitely here to help you on your learning journey, whether that includes certifications or not. We really want to meet you as the learner to what your goals are. So please feel free to use any of the resources that we discussed today. Certification is not the end goal for everyone. Sometimes you just want to learn, and we have all of the different modalities to help you with that. So if you have any further questions, comments, like I said, my email address was flashed above or below, so thank you for that. But I've truly enjoyed my time with you. Thank you for that. Really enjoyed
Yeah.
my time with y'all. And I'm just so excited to attend more of these. And it's funny because when y'all reached out to me, I was like, how can we get on these at each one of these for 2021? So don't worry, there's a team. My team loves doing these, and we want to assist you in any way that we can. So thank you for having me. Whether it is good morning, good afternoon, or good night, I wish you the best of luck on your learning journey.
Thank you so much. And yeah, on this note, I believe we can end this segment of the day. And for participants who are still with us, just to inform you, we have other segments coming up after half an hour of break. So you will be communicated over Eventbrite and Meetup with the link. I mean, we anyway have one common URL to redirect and to the respective video streaming session, that is devfest2020.club. So every time we will update the next session on that. So any point of time you want to join, you can use this URL. It will be redirected to the latest streaming session so that you are attending what is live. Thank you so much. And yeah, have a great day. Take care, everybody. And let's meet again after a break. Thank you so much.
Mental illness is a huge problem, and we can really make huge strides in solving it by using artificial intelligence technology. But without the kind of data sharing that's necessary for machine learning to work, it simply won't be possible to solve this problem. I understand that people value their privacy, and of course, so do I. But without data, machine learning technology simply is useless. It cannot be trained without the right kinds of data sets. Imagine how many other problems we couldn't have solved if it weren't for us sharing data for machine learning to be implemented.
nationalities and cultures and people here. And to me, it's a safe place, especially when we're thinking about technology.
Get ready for a cloud-first workplace. Jumpstart your career by signing up for a Google Cloud hands-on learning experience. Companies around the world are moving to the cloud. This is a unique opportunity to gain new skills and professional credentials. If you want to discover a career, scale your startup, or perform groundbreaking research that will change the world, this is the event for you.
Marhaba.
Hola. Hello.
I'm inspired that there's so many people working to accomplish the same goal of creating a connected future.
By having students lead clubs on campus directly supported by Google developers, that's the best way to reach out to students.
It's really inspirational always to hear about members of the community who echo your values and echo your beliefs.
I've been listening more than I've been speaking, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because I'm just getting all these ideas.
Google, it needs to reach a wider audience and be more relatable as a company, and I think Google is one of the brands that is very good at doing that.
Get ready for a cloud-first workplace. Jumpstart your career by signing up for a Google Cloud hands-on learning experience. Companies around the world are moving to the cloud. This is a unique opportunity to gain new skills and professional credentials. If you want to discover a career, scale your startup, or perform groundbreaking research that will change the world, this is the event for you.